Alright guys, this has been asked many times now for the past couple of days, and people are asking me to review the two new retrofits in this game for Shan and Chang Chun, or I don't know how to pronounce these names, man. I'm supposed to pronounce these names correctly because I'm Chinese, but whatever. We'll go with An and Chang, okay? So these two ships, I'm supposed to ask to review them and whatnot, right? So I did a lot of testing with them, or a bit of testing with them. I did Operation Sirens, I did regular maps and all that jazz. I tried both forms out, and I'm here to give you guys my best review on these ships. Now keep in mind, my ships for these aren't 120. I'm not going to do it. I don't have cog ships, otherwise I would do it. Thanks, game. And these skills are maxed out as well too, not to mention not 100 affinity, so I'm missing like what, 6% stats or whatever. And I'm not fully enhanced as well. So keep everything to whatever you want to take it for and all that jazz, but I'm gonna go ahead and give a review on these ships. So right from the bat, in terms of Vanguard positions, these guys act like normal Vanguards, but I think they're like kind of lacking in terms of like actual damage. Like their firepower isn't that great. Their torpedo stats aren't amazing either. I'm not a big fan of them overall as a Vanguard. They have some fun procs, don't get me wrong. A lot of blue, green, and yellow lasers flying around and all that jazz, and torpedo. I think it's like torpedoes or whatever. Laser shows and stuff, all these procs and stuff. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't do that much damage. It's like, it feels like wet noodle. It's not that high of a damage output for these Vanguard ships. Now, if we go into the other position, because you guys can do that, if you go to the retrofit, you have this maxed out, or up to here, and you go here and switch to mode, it costs 200 coins, and you can do that. Downside to this, and I don't know when they're going to change this, but if you go ahead and switch forms, but they're also in OS, you guys got to realize you remove them from OS, and then you got to go back into OS and add them in, and it costs AP to do that. That's a bad idea. I hope they fix this, because this is really annoying. I want to get a refund when I do this. The reason why they do this is because when you switch positions like this, you go from the Vanguard position to the main fleet position. So you go from front to back. That's why they have you swap positions. It's bad because it costs 999 or 900 or not 900 99 AP to swap positions. That's a lot of AP, and I'm poor on AP right now, so I really don't want to do that. But this ship, in the back line, now they fire missiles right off the start. It's a preload missile, whatever. You get one volley of missiles. It does okay damage. Don't get me wrong, it does okay damage, but you only get one of it. And after that, there's like a 22-second delay or whatever. There's also like barrage and stuff coming from the backline as well too, but you only get one volley of missiles for the next like 22-25 seconds. And the damage is like okay, but it's not consistent damage output. Not to mention, these destroyers are also very paper. Notice here they have 3,200 health. This is very light on health, guys. This is not durable whatsoever. The only positions I can think of where I would use these is for like cheap farming, like World 6 or something. But cheap farming is dead content nowadays, because it's not as beneficial for most players that are like near end game or end game to do that, because you're better off farming World 9+. If you're doing 9+, you're rewarded for using more oil. So if you go ahead and use like 9 oil cost backline, it's cheap and all, but you get less rewards. So I really don't like them in the backline either. Their damage output is kind of low, because of, if this was a lower cooldown, then okay, like 10 seconds, it could be solid. But their damage output is just not consistent. They shoot off missile at the beginning, and that's pretty much it. And then after that, they just sit there and just do nothing. They have 3,200 health or so, well, probably like 4,000, close to there, at level 120. Their damage output isn't amazing. Not to mention taking up a backline slot as well too. They can use for like battleships and whatnot. Because if I go to main fleet right here, you have a list of like carriers and battleships to choose from. So why would you want to actually use the destroyer girls in the backline, right? So I'm not a fan of them in the backline either. If I were to give a position on where to use them, I would definitely say use them in the Vanguard, because at least this way they don't take up a slot in the backline, which you could use for a much more powerful ship, like just a regular battleship or a carrier. So I would use them as Vanguard, but even then, if you're using them in the Vanguard position, they don't do much. They really don't do much. The China ships for retrofits, I'm not a big fan of. They don't do that much damage. They're interesting, don't get me wrong. So no, I'm not a big fan of using these ships. That being said, people are asking me about the core data stuff as well too. Are they worth buying, or the missiles or whatever? Are they worth buying? So I went ahead and bought the 800 one. I slapped them onto both my my China girl DDs or whatever. You get one from the raid event going on right now, and you get one from the shop. So have them both geared up for just regular stuff. And yeah, I'm just not a fan of these ships. They lack a lot. Vanguard, they lack a lot. Backline, they lack a lot, and they take up a backline slot. I'm not a fan of these ships. So honestly, just stick at one missile. Don't buy another one in the shop. I did it for a video purpose. I wasted 800 core data, so don't do it. It's not worth it. If you guys want to use them in the Vanguard position. Don't use them in the backline position. You're better off using other ships there. And if you want to use them for cheap farming, honestly, if you're doing cheap farming, again, it's dead content, especially during events, because they made events now oil capped, so there's no reason for you to do that. And if you really want a cheap farm, like you want to go to like 10 oil plus, you can use like a monitor or something. Like they're better monitors, but then again, if you guys remember back in the day when we did monitor farming, we had monitors at 0 limit break for a reason, and that's the cheap farm. And if you guys don't know, a monitor at 0 limit break like Erebus and Terror, they cost that's a maximum break one. They cost 4 oil. So when you compare a China destroyer like those two with Erebus at 0 limit break, which is 4, 9 oil versus 4 oil. That's more than double of what Erebus costs at 0 limit break. And the damage is like okay-ish, but if you're doing cheap farming, most likely the content you're doing, mobs die in like one hit. So Erebus has no issues with that. So once again, I'm not a fan of this ship in particular. I think it's interesting. You can definitely do a lot of cool things with them, I guess, in the future. But I really just don't like these ships. The real big takeaway from this update with these retrofits is that now you can run a 3-3 setup with China fleets. So if I were to go all the way into formations, let's go all the way to an empty slot right here, like this one or something, and we go do like, I don't know, we could do like Shanghai. Let me toss in my whatchamacallit sisters real quick. Chang Chun and Shan, stuff like that. We can now do a 3-3 China fleet. Oh my god, that's crazy. We can finally do a 3-3 China fleet. After how many years now? Like 4 years of this game's life, we can finally do one. That's the big takeaway here. Otherwise, I'm not a fan of these ships, but if I were to use them, I'll use them in destroyer slots. They're cute and all, so if you want to use them, go for it. Just be aware that when you bring them into like later game content and you struggle a lot, you guys know why, because these ships don't perform amazing at end game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video and all that jazz. Good luck on your retrofits and whatnot. That's my take on the 2 destroyer retrofits, as well as the core data missiles and whatnot. Enjoy the video, guys. I'll see you on the next one.